지금부터 제2회 국제문화학술 발표대회를 시작하도록 하겠습니다.
The second International Culture and Academic Presentation Contest will begin. I'm Zhu Munzhong, the host of the contest. I'm the student in Taiwan Foreign Language High School.
I'm An Chongyak, the host of the contest. I'm a student from Taiwan Foreign Language High School.
Now we will start part 1.
First, Li Xiuhuan, President of Korean International Culture Association, will say welcoming speech.
안녕하세요. 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회 이사장 이수현입니다. 국제문화학술 발표대회는 글로벌 소통 능력을 겸비한 인재들의 국제교류 한마당입니다. 특히 이번 대회는 다양한 주제와 내용의 논문을 선정해 발표를 진행할 수 있게 되어 그 의미가 남다르다 할 수 있겠습니다. 뜨거운 응원과 격려를 부탁드리며 오늘 참석해주신 내빈 여러분 그리고 각 학교 관계자 여러분 다시 한번 감사의 말씀드립니다. 끝으로 이번 대회를 위해 애써주신 많은 분들께 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다.
The Ozan Sazak Kirden sent a welcoming speech through a video. She is a Turkish English teacher and PhD in English literature and is a judge of this contest.
Hello, this is Özden Kirilen from Turkey. I have been working as an English teacher for almost 8 years now, and I'm truly happy to be a co-advisor to Sofia Solzhin in her project. Sofia has always demonstrated ambition and maturity. She is genuinely interested in developing her skills and challenging her abilities, as well as being a great role model for her people. I feel certain that you will be just as impressed with Sofia as I am. I strongly encourage you to take a closer look at Sofia. Thank you.
We will start part 2.
First, it is the order of the video presentation and the special team.
A study on how to solve the crimes of the characters in the Sky Letter. All Asian Academy student Oh Jae-hyun.
오준호,
이한서.
This is table of contents. Introduction. Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Sky Letter illustrates the three characters, Hester, Chillingworth, and Dimmesdale, feel and deal with their one type of guilt. This paper intends to study how to overcome such guilt. The purpose of this study is to identify the relationship between resilience and school adaptation. This was accomplished by surveying all the students currently attending a Asian academy.
The background of the period. In the 17th century, the Puritan society believed that the laws set by religion were more important than laws set by man, thus not allowing individual freedom. As a result, a convicted criminal was punished in a very stern and cruel way. The Puritan Christians associated God with not someone loves and forgives, but someone who was the judge of punishment and emphasizing and instilling fear in everyone's mind.
plot. First, Hester Prynne, who is shamefully interrogated for committing an adultery, and thus has to live the rest of her life with an A on her chest. Next is Dimmesdale, a trustworthy young pastor who makes Hester pregnant. Lastly is character Chillingworth, Hester Prynne's original husband, who lives with a vengeful spirit. Chillingworth tries to make Dimmesdale's life miserable, and as a result, Dimmesdale is living a tormented life filled with remorse.
Hester. Number 1. Hester's character. Hester has great faith in someone who she loves. So she chooses the way of atonement and suffering instead of relieving who she had her illicit affair with. Number 2. Hester's attitude of the crime. Hester lives according to her own will and freedom. Hester accepts her punishment, which is isolation. Hester feels sorry for Chillingworth because he loses his wisdom and ability. Number 3. Puritan doctrine. It is an expression that one shouldn't avoid disadvantage and suffering in the Puritan society. Number 4, life of service. Hester builds even closer relationships by being considerate to them and helping the people in difficult financial and mental circumstances. At the beginning, the mark A meant adultery. But because Hester dedicated her life to service, people changed their perception of her. By the end, the mark A meant ability and angel. Number 5, power of love. Hester thinks that the love between a man and woman can be stopped even if there are religious restrictions. Because of love, Hester can accept the innermost pain.
Dimmesdale, number 1, Dimmesdale cannot confess his sin. Dimmesdale sins a hidden sin. Dimmesdale lived as a weak pastor, hiding his sins for 7 years. The author emphasized that the hypocrisy to hide the sin far away the sin itself. Number 2, what does Dimmesdale sin? It was because of human weakness that he was adultery. Number 3, pretense contradiction. The attitude that Dimmesdale wants Hester to make the confession that he should make himself show his embarrassment and hypocrisy. As a result, Dimmesdale becomes a hypocritical saint bearing the sins of hypocrisy and cowardice. Number 4, the weak man. The attitude that Dimmesdale wants Hester to make the confession that he should make himself show his embarrassment and hypocrisy. As a result, Dimmesdale becomes a hypocritical saint bearing the sins of hypocrisy and cowardice. Number 5, Dimmesdale escape. Dimmesdale contemplates traveling to Europe, but he says that he cannot escape his sins no matter where he might go. Number 6, how to overcome sins. Eventually, when his death is imminent, Dimmesdale confesses all of his sins to the people with a sincere heart and reaches a state of revelation.
Chillingworth. Number 1, a person who does not repent for his sins. Chillingworth becomes obsessed with brutal revenge. The problem is that Chillingworth's action inflicts deep scars, but these actions are not considered a sin. Chillingworth suffers from sin in the sense that he is unaware of his sins. Number 2, smart and rational as doctor. Chillingworth was a smart and rational doctor. However, he notices Hester and Dimmesdale's affair. After that, he even changed into the form of a demon blinded only by revenge. Because of his hatred, the wise and capable Chillingworth grows evil. Number 3, Puritan intellectuality. Chillingworth's intelligence appears inhuman in more superhuman way. Chillingworth takes attitude of condemning Hester and Dimmesdale by the standard of Puritan ethics. Number 4, crippled. Chillingworth was born with a disability on both of his legs. Number 5, to reap one what sows. Chillingworth's means and method of revenge can be seen as committing a greater sin.
열방 아카데미에 다니고 있는 초등학교 2학년부터 중학교 4학년 학생들을 대상으로 회복 탄력성이 학교 정의에 미치는 영향에 대해서 설문조사를 했고 그에 대한 통계 자료인데요. 먼저 회복 탄력성의 하위 요소는 통제성, 긍정성, 사회성 등이 있고 통제성에는 감정 통제력, 충동 억제력, 원인 분석력, 긍정성에는 생활 만족도 감사하기 낙관성, 사회성에는 관계성, 의사소통, 공감 능력 등으로 측정을 하였습니다.
회복 탄력성의 차이를 보면 먼저 학년, 성별, 학업 성적, 주관적 건강 상태, 주관적 경제 수준으로 구분을 하였고 회복 탄력성은 통제성, 긍정성, 사회성으로 구분을 하여 다음과 같은 조사를 하였습니다.
회복 탄력성과 학교 적응의 상관관계를 보면 먼저 사회성과 긍정성은 유의미한 관계를 나타내고 있는데 긍정성보다 사회성이 더욱 유의미한 관계를 나타내고 있습니다. 반면 통제성은 무의미한 관계를 나타내고 있는데 그 이유는 통제성의 요소가 감정 통제력, 충동 억제력, 원인 분석력인데 이는 좀 더 어른스러운 즉 메타인지적 능력을 요구하는 것이므로 지금 초등학교가 많은 본교로서는 기대하기 어려운 점이었습니다. 지금까지 저희의 발표를 들으셔서 감사합니다.
Next is Jingsu Students Order. She is a 11th grader at the International Gateway Academy, Turkey, Istanbul.
This topic is
I'll be
women's
talking about-
studies.
I'll be talking about women's studies. The introduction will be about the definition of women's studies. Women's position refers to women standing as social beings located in the gender equality system. Women's studies is objective in knowledge biased towards male-centered positions and challenge the social way in which object knowledge is organized and worked by institutionalizing women's inequality with universal knowledge. There are four main research interests in women's studies. Firstly, analyze and visualize the levels and methods in which women are placed in law, family, employment, and political activities. Second, explores the meaning of different effects and reconstruct universality by reinterpreting society from the perspective of women. Third, explores the social composition of gender and the ways in which gender systems are intertwined and changed. Lastly, explores how to learn and accept women and with resistance and compositions appear to counter the limitation of the gender structure. Next will be about the history of women's studies. The first generation feminism took place in the late 19th and the early 20th centuries. John Stuart Mill's The Woman's Subordinate in 1861 is the liberal ideological basis of feminism. According to Mill, if the restriction on women's personal rights is removed, women's civil life will be possible. Second generation of feminism. Period of feminist activity that began in the early 1960s and lasted 2 decades throughout the Western world and aimed to increase inequality for women by building on previous feminist gains. The third generation of feminism. This generation of feminism was really focused on reproductive rights for women. Feminists advocated for a woman's rights to make her own choices about her body. Next, the body is about Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf was a novelist and critic born in 1882 in London. She spent her childhood reading books in the study of her father, Leslie Stephen, a literary critic, and formed the Bloomsbury Group. In 1907, when she published a book review in the supplement to the Times, she was recognized as a leading writer of modernism in England. As a novelist, Woolf explored the uncertain life and functionality of human relation in modern society by portraying the flow of her inner conciseness. The Room of One's Own and the Guinea are the classics of feminist criticism. A Room of One's Own, Woolf examines the work of female artists, including Jane Austen and George Eliot, and discovers that they had no choice but to write twisted works with the limited experience and conventional control. A Room of One's Own was the first attempt at placing female writers in literary history to discuss the literary heritage centered on great gender and the basic books of women's literary criticism in the 20th century. Application of women's studies. At the time of publication, the book was dismissed as a light literary comment, not a political argument. However, in the 1970s, Virginia Woolf was rediscovered as feminist literary criticism emerged, raising the status of the book. In order for a woman to conceptualize and argue with her ideas, she argues women need the ability to know who she is and the economic ability to make a living. Next is a film called Mustang. The film calls for women's freedom and liberation through the story of 5 sisters living in Turkey. The 5 sisters are focused to marry under the traditional structure, which makes each of the girls suffer. What I want to shed light on this film is that it is the society itself that suppresses women. As such, the film says that women need cooperation to break the chain. Therefore, when women with the same pain, they should share their experiences, speak, and act together. Next is about the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement is a campaign to announce the seriousness of sex crimes by putting the hashtag MeToo on social networking services SNS. It began on October 2017 when actress Alyssa Milano first proposed it after her sex scandal involving Harvey Weinstein. 24 hours after Alyssa Milano proposed the Me Too campaign, more than 500,000 people retweeted and supported it, and more than 80,000 people posted Me Too hashtags to reveal their sexual assaults and sexual harassment experiences. In Korea, the Me Too movement began in January 2018 after Seo Jin-hyun, a prosecutor, exposed the sexual harassment on An Tae-geum, a former director of Justice Ministry. The Me Too campaign caused a stir as it spread to cultural, artistic, and political circles. The Me Too movement has also spread to With You movement on SNS, which supports and sympathizes with the pain of victims of sexual violence. Lastly, I realized that feminism is embedded in literature and films that we can easily access to. Things that I had almost ignored and passed by were seen again and became interesting. By studying the history of women's studies, it became possible to compare the past and present women's studies. If the familiar literature I've read so far was a male narrative written by a male writer, I discovered why it is important to read and write female narratives by female writers while reading virginal books. I learned that Sister Lally's courage was also in women's solidarity, and this led to the topic of having something to do with the women's solidarity in the Me Too movement. Thank you.
It's Qing So's turn. She is also attending the International Gateway Academy, 11th grade, Turkey, Istanbul.
Her thesis topic is Animal Farm, focusing on the Russian Revolution.
I will be introducing you to Animal Farm, focusing on the Russian Revolution. A satirical fable is a way to express social phenomena or reality in an exaggerated or sarcastic way to make it appear ridiculous and cause laughter. In this presentation, I will be introducing you to Animal Farm, which is one of the most famous satirical fables that represents the events of the Russian Revolution. The plot of Animal Farm. The livestock start rebellion against humans. They successfully throw out humans and run the farm themselves under Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer. They start Sunday meetings and learning time for literacy in order to build an ideal society of equality. However, during the windmill construction, Snowball gets exiled by Napoleon and the farm starts to change. Then, the pigs create a fearful atmosphere and sets a complete dictatorship. They also change the policy, live in the House of Jones, and act as humans. Even their slogan, all animals are equal, changed to all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal, which clearly shows that the equal society is corrupted. The representative satire within Animal Farm. Originally, the communists, which were the Bolsheviks in Russia, had the purpose of overcoming the capitalist bourgeoisie who exploited the workers and created an equal society for all. But after removing the bourgeoisie, they began to exploit the workers and the general public more brutally than the former government. Likewise, the pigs in the Animal Farm overthrew humans to create an equal society, but after driving with the humans, they mimicked them by walking on their feet, exploiting other animals, and becoming privileged classes. In other words, the scene of the pigs walking on their feet symbolizes the Bolsheviks ruling the Soviet Union. The background of Animal Farm. Animal Farm, written by George Orwell, was published right after World War II had ended on August 17, 1945. Animal Farm was barely published after a year and a half after it was written. because both UK and US publishers refused to publish Animal Farm. The UK rejected because they were allied with the Soviet Union at that time, and if they published this book, they had to take political risks. The US also rejected because of political reasons. In 1861, Russia liberalized the peasants, which meant the development of Russia and capitalism. As a result, the proletarians increased and the labor movement began. The Russian economy was devastated by economic crisis, and peasants weren't able to grow to middle class because statues of factory workers and wages were too low. The severe economic depression and the oppression of the police further stimulated the peasant uprisings. The course of the Russian Revolution divides into three main parts, which are the First Russian Revolution, the Russian March Revolution, and the Russian November Revolution. The significance of the Russian Revolution is that it shaped welfare policies, regimes, and democratic principles of European countries. And it showed that past conflict, the greatest risk to capital system, could explode at any time. Therefore, the capitalist countries established their identity and endeavored to overcome the problems of capitalism. The policy wasn't always successful in its implementation, but such attempts had woken up globally the rights of the weak, such as women's right to vote and the right of workers. The correlation of Animal Farm and Russian Revolution. In the novel, the animals cause a revolution and build a society themselves, but as the pigs' dictatorship strengthened, it turned into a more totalitarian society than before the revolution, just like the communist and Russian Revolution. The story of the Animal Farm ends with the dominant pigs imitating the humans, which means that though the revolution was successful, the only thing that changed was the leader. This dark ending reflects the reality of the Soviet society at that time. This is a list of the characters of Animal Farm and the represented Russian figures. For example, the pigs represented the Bolsheviks, Napoleon represented Stalin, Boxer represented the proletarians, also known as the workers, and Snowball represented Trotsky. And lastly, Mr. Jones represented Nicholas II, the Russian emperor at that time. I was so amazed by these facts and realized that the author's intentions seem to be much more accessible nowadays too. For example, there was an event of the South Korean government in the current era when President Park failed to take full advantage of the power given to the people. On top of the president, Choi Soon-sil reigned and abused the power. I came to the conclusion that not only Russia, but also the attempt of domination in the past political situation in our country relates to Animal Farm. Thank you for listening.
Next is Yang Yuan, Master of Hankou University of Foreign Studies. She is a teacher in China.
The thesis topic is Translation Strategy of Onomatopoeia and Mimic in Translation Chinese Novel into Korean, based on the children's novel, The Diving Grandfather of the Field.
안녕하세요. 한국외국어대학교 외국어로서의 한국어 번역 전공 19학번 랑이문이라고 하는 중국인 학생입니다. 우선 KIC의 한국국제문화우어협회 제2회 국제문화학술대회에 참가하게 돼서 무척이나 영광스럽습니다. 오늘 이 자리를 빌려 제 석사 논문을 발표해 보도록 하겠습니다. 제 논문에서 다루는 주제는 중국어와 한국어의 의성어와 의태어의 대조 연구이고요. 중국의 아동소설에 실려있는 의성어와 의태어를 연구 대상으로 삼고자 합니다. 우선 한국어 문장 몇 개를 통해서 제가 이 논문을 쓰게 된 계기를 간단히만 말씀드리고 싶습니다. 1번과 2번 문장을 먼저 보겠습니다. 비행기에서 펑펑 울었다. 비행기에서 엉엉 울었다. 어머님이 숨을 푹푹 쉬신다. 문장 밑줄 친 부분은 우리 평상시에 의성어, 의태어라고 하면 흔히 떠오르는 정형적인 것들이죠. 만약에 우리 여기 있는 엉엉, 펑펑, 푹푹을 빼놓으면은 1번과 2번 문장이 비행기에서 울었다. 어머님이 한숨을 쉬신다. 이렇게 되는데요. 문장이 아주 단조로워집니다. 3번 문장을 보시면 밥 한 그릇 뚝딱 했다. 밥 한 그릇 먹었다. 두 개 문장이 다른 느낌을 주고 있죠. 앞의 문장이 훨씬 더 풍부한 화면감을 부여주었습니다. 자, 문장 하나 더 보겠습니다. 물이 흥건하고 질척질척한 진밥. 흐르르 마실 수 있을 정도의 죽밥. 어떠세요? 여기 이 두 문장도 의태어와 의성어를 통해서 밥알의 상태를 구체적으로 알 수 있는 거죠. 이렇게 5개의 문장만 통해서도 한국어의 의성어와 의태어가 문장 속에서 중요한 역할을 하고 있다는 것을 확실히 느껴보실 수 있을 겁니다. 한국어의 의성어, 의태어가 이 정도로 발달한데 중국어는 그 반대로 그렇지 못하다는 거죠. 그러면 양국의 언어가 서로 번역될 때 어떠한 기법을 사용하는 게 마땅한지 바로 이 논문에서 도출할 계획입니다. 이 논문에서 분석 테스트로 사용되는 작품은 중국 아동작품 신림 작가 주종의 들판의 신령 할아버지입니다. 주종의 이 작품은 중국의 전통 문화가 스며든 작품입니다. 실의 배경은 고대이고 오리알 호수라는 곳에서 13편의 신비로운 이야기가 벌어집니다. 예술적인 미감을 살리는 글은 물론이고 고풍 사파도 들어가 있어서 어린이로 하여금 상상하게 만듭니다. 작가 주정은 더 많은 외국인 어린이가 중국의 고풍 동화를 사랑해 줬으면 하고 중국 고대 문화가 더 많이 알려졌으면 하는 마음으로 창작했다고 합니다. 따라서 한국 어린이가 이런 그림 동화책을 통해서 중국의 문화를 손쉽게 접하면서 외국의 동화 이야기도 즐길 수 있을 거라고 예상되고 있습니다. 여기는 번역문의 일부입니다. 시간 관계상 생략하도록 하겠습니다. 의성어, 의태어 분석 전략을 살펴보기 전에는 한국어와 중국어의 의성어, 의태어의 기능 내조하면서 한번 살펴보겠습니다. 한중 양국의 의성어, 의태어의 형태는 비록 다르지만 문장에서 맞는 기능은 거의 동일합니다. 시간 관계상 서술어 기능만 대조하면서 보겠습니다. 우선 서술어 기능을 보자면 농부가 네 하면서 고개를 끄덕끄덕거렸다. 여기 밑줄 친 부분인 끄덕끄덕거렸다는 끄덕끄덕이라는 의태어에다가 이라는 명사형 전미사를 붙임으로써 서술어로 만들어졌습니다. 옆에 중국어 문장도 비슷한 현상이 일어났습니다. 꾸루는 액체를 삼킬 때 목구멍에서 나는 소리를 모방하는 의성어입니다. 이 중국어 문장에서는 삼킨다라는 동사로만 사용되었습니다. 한국어에서 중국어로 번역하는 과정에서 의성어, 의태어의 번역 전략은 세 종류로 나눠봤습니다. 대체 전략, 첨가 전략, 삭제 전략입니다. 대체 전략은 한국어와 중국어 1대1 대응이 이루어지는 어휘가 존재할 때만 사용되는 전략입니다. 여기 예문에서 보시다시피 뚜따뚜따끼라는 의성어와 삐뚤삐뚤이라는 의태어는 중국어에서 그대로 번역된 겁니다. 첨가 전략은 품사가 바뀐 첨가, 부연설명 첨가, 그리고 일반적인 첨가 이렇게 세 가지로 세분화할 수 있습니다. 시간 관계상 품사가 바뀐 첨가만 말씀드리도록 하겠습니다. 중국어 원문에 있는 许多는 많다라는 형용사입니다. 한국어로 번역되면서 필자가 옹기종기로 번역했습니다. 많다라는 의미 외에 옹기종기는 사람들 간의 거리까지 묘사할 수 있는 의태어입니다. 여기서 의태어인 옹기종기가 첨가되었고 품사도 원래 형용사에서 부사어로 바뀌었습니다. 삭제 전략 보겠습니다. 삭제 전략 연구 필요성 파트에서 한국어, 의성어, 의태어가 중국어에 비해 많이 발달하다고 말씀드렸습니다. 그렇다면 한국어로 옮길 때 삽입을 많이 하게 되는 것은 정상이지 어째서 삭제 전략도 사용하게 되는지 한번 보겠습니다. 흙이 다 묻고 지저분해졌어요에 해당한 중국어 부분은 더럽다라는 의미를 갖는 하나의 의태어로 되어 있습니다. 사실은 지저분하다라는 의미를 갖고 있는 의태어라 하면은 꾸질꾸질이라는 의태어도 있는데 하지만 꾸질꾸질이라는 어휘는 부정적인 의미가 강해서 필자가 쓰지를 않았습니다. 이런 경우에서 원문에 있던 의태어를 삭제해서 일부러 일반적인 형용사로 대체하기도 합니다. 이 도표에서 알 수 있듯이 우리 예상대로 첨가 전략이 가장 많이 사용되는 번역 전략입니다. 하지만 좀 의외이던 부분은 삭제 전략입니다. 마지막 우리 같이 봤던 예시에서 제시한 경우에도 아주 구체적인 특정적인 동작을 묘사하는 한국어 동사 어휘가 존재할 때 오히려 의성어, 의태어 대신에 그러한 동사를 선택해서 사용하는 것이 더 구체적으로 의사 표현할 수 있다는 점도 한번 유의할 만합니다. 예를 들면 손대중하다, 읍조리다 등등 동사를 예로 들 수 있습니다. 이번 연구를 통해서 번역자가 의성어, 의태어를 번역할 때 무조건 1대1의 어휘를 찾는 데에 애쓰는 게 무조건 좋은 번역문을 산체시킬 수 있는 거 아니다 라는 점을 강조하고 싶습니다. 마지막으로는 본 연구에서 제시한 의성어, 의태어의 번역 전략이 실제 아동문학 작품 번역 작업에서 많이 적용되기를 기대하며 또한 훌륭한 번역자들에 의하여 한국어를 구사하는 아동에게 자국 내 아동서적과 색다른 동화 이야기를 접하게 될 계기와 브리지가 되었으면 합니다. 들어주셔서 감사합니다.
I will start part 3.
The presenters will introduce their papers by themselves.
First, Cui Huan is second year of Taiwan Foreign Language High School. He will present the title, The Effect of Psychology.
So first, it's my honor to stand here to face all of you guys and to say my today's topic of the presentation, the effect of the psychology. So firstly, I'm gonna just give an introduction, and the next I'm going to give maybe talking, discussing like about 20 small point of body, and in the end, I'm going to give a conclusion. So psychology is the most central to modern learning, and some says these days are the time of psychology. Psychology is a science of various color, not only studies human emotions and thought, but also explore the changes in human behavior. And various types of psychology are studied through scientific research method. So first one, there has an effect called the electro complex. It's according to for the girls at the age of 3 to 5, and when they know that they do not have genitals than their younger brother or father has. But while blaming their mother for not giving them male genitals, first says this penis as an active causes of the girl's electro complex. Next one, I think it is more easily to everyone to understand. It's just a butterfly effect. It's just like a butterfly just shake his wings, and maybe it will lead to enormous and unexpected consequences in the future. And Stockholm syndrome, it's just a phenomenon that has positive feelings for object who causes extreme situations due to fear. The first one, mistake effect. It's a theory that loopholes or mistakes enhance the charm of the public. The Mother Teresa effect. There has a study in the Harvard University and refers to a significant improvement to a body's immune function just by looking at a volunteer work or good work like Sister Teresa. and a study in Harvard University, the effect was proved by examining the level of the immune antibody IgA in human cells. The Hawthorne effect is a phenomenon that it just encompasses not only acting differently, but also increasing work efficiency and productivity. The weather effect. Equating himself with a person is only called copycat suicide and suicide transmission, just like in the weather way. The Veblen effect. Despite the rising price, demand does not decrease, but rather increase due to vanity or show off basic class. We always talk it in the economic way, or also financial. And Zeigarnik effect, it refers to a phenomenon in which you cannot easily erase what you have not complete in your mind. The cocktail party effect. Maybe everybody will just attend a cocktail party, just like a cocktail party or any party. There has a lot of information that you can choose, you can refer to being able to hear stories and what you are interested in. The halo effect is just a phenomenon in which prominent characteristics of an object also affect evaluating other detailed characters of the object. The broken window theory. We left a broken window in a street or a household, maybe the crime violence will be increasing so fast. And Pygmalion effect. I think it is more interesting and important in my whole presentation. It's just if there is something that others respect and expect from me, it means that it is done by trying to change to meet expectations. The stigma effect is a phenomenon in which behavior changes to a bad side, but when we ignored by others and actively branded, and is mainly used in social psychology to explain deviant behavior or malade judgment. The Turner effect. It just compared the continuing to pursue growth while ignoring the information of distribution will eventually reduce efficiency and header growth. The Mattei effect. In the 1969, and there has an American sociologist, and he was the reality that prominent scientists are rewarded more than unknown scientists for virtually the same research result in summarized as a phrase. The Oedipus complex. It is the pandushi of what I'm talking about in the first effect. It's just like a same-sex father, but it's favorable to a heterosexual mother and unconsciously has sexual attachment. Sexual attachment to a mother is an improved turning point in mental onset, imitating the desire of the father. The bluebird syndrome. It's just like a phenomenon of pursuing only vague happiness in the future while failing to keep pace will be the rapidly changing modern social and not being interested in the current work. The placebo effect. It just refers to fake drugs causing mental and physical changes like a real drug, and just as a placebo made of fluid is effectively. And also the nocebo effect. It's also we discussing these two also in the medicine way, and this one is also similar to the placebo drug, just causing the mental and physical effect. So both mentioned effects are applied not only in psychology, but also in various disciplines. Just as for characters items, which implied a lot of meaning to Chinese characters, increase understanding when explaining mutual conversations or any content. Various contents can be explained in various disciplines. So using the effect of psychology through the study, I think it is meaningful to summarize all the effect necessary for high school students in China and Korea. Thank you very much.
Next, Song Luk Teng is third grade of Taiwan Foreign Language High School. He will present the title, Game Theory.
Today, my topic is game theory, focusing on principles and application cases. First, introduction. We have frequently encountered the subject of prisoner's dilemma through various media and literature fingerprints. So naturally, I became interested in prisoner's dilemma. Theoretical background, meaning of game theory. Game theory is a theory that studies how decisions are made in interdependent and strategy situations in which one's actions affect another's actions. So you can see in the left picture, every single part are divided into two. Basic prerequisites of game theory are divided into four. The main point, game theory, deployable game. Deployable games are a type of game in game theory. The game is presented in a kind of tree diagram. And like other games, the player, the order of the game, and the result and the reward of each player are defined. General type game 1. A general type game is a type of game that appears in game theory, also known as a strategic game. Unlike deployable games, it takes the form of a matrix without taking the shape of graph. Like the graph right side, 두 경기자의 보수를 표현한 경우는 when two 쌈은 만날 때는 the number came out with 3-3. When two 톡이 만날 때는 the number came out with 2-2. This is the example of general type games too. The game is called 협조와 비협조. When a superior strategy exists, the form of a revenue processing appears. So this is also another example, game of 강한 우월 전략과 약한 우월 전략. Politicalization of Nash equilibrium. If more than one Nash equilibrium is established, such as a rowing game, methods such as shilling points or shaking hand balance may be used to specify the game's solution. Thus, introducing methods to select one particular Nash equilibrium in two or more Nash equilibrium is described as politicalizing. So, prisoner's dilemma. Prisoner's dilemma is the best choice for both of them. This is another example. Two gang members have been arrested, so the criminals were put in solitary confinement. Prisoner dilemma in real life. Let's think about the situation of having dinner with friends. At this time, they may decide to pay for the food they ordered or divide the money equally according to the suggestion. Let's pay 1 to N because we eat together. Another prisoner's dilemma in real life. It can also be applied to social issues such as education that result in dilemma that result is loose for all participants. When the children next door, back door, and the front door will attend the private academies or receive private education, our children can now be only ones not to receive private education, and as a result, the damage caused by overhead private education affects everyone. Rational selection theory. So there is a theory called this. It refers to a formal approach that theories psychologically and socially that social life can explain primarily as a result of a reasonable choice. Rational theory of choice in police science. Rational selection theory suggests that the act of committing a crime is in some way beneficial to perpetrator. Therefore, the view of rational choice is to understand how a particularly motivated criminal chooses a crime within a particular environment that provides the opportunity to meet the motive. Traveler's Dilemma, Introduction and Content. At this time, the airline presents the conditions. First, if the proposed climb is the same, compensate as it is. Second, if the proposed climbs are different, the lower the two climbs should be minimal climb. Third, the person who climbs a low climb will be paid 20,000 won plus the minimal climb, and the person who climbs the high amount will be paid minimal amount minus 20,000 won. Lastly, conclusion. So game theory research. Game theory is being applied in various places in our lives. There is also a variety of principles in game theory, not just one. So this study, we found the game theory is being applied in various places and even in situations where we thought it would be simpler than we thought. Thank you for listening.
So Ye Hua is 10th grade at SDC International School Academic. She will present the title, Analysis of Jane Eyre Novel Through Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs.
Hello everyone, my name is Ye Hua. Today I'm going to present about my paper, which is about the analysis of Jane Eyre novel through Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These are my contents. I started this research due to the curiosity of what will happen if Maslow's hierarchy of needs was applied to humans. So I applied Maslow's hierarchy of needs to a work called Jane Eyre, which was able to analyze the protagonist's life from childhood to adulthood. I'll next talk about the development of psychology, which can explain how humanism, which is the basis of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, developed. First, I will talk about the development of psychology. Through the efforts of four major psychologists, Freud, Skinner, Maslow, and Piaget, the four major branches of psychology, psychoanalysis, behavioralism, humanism, and cognitivism, developed. Next, I will talk about each of the four psychology. First, psychoanalysis is a treatment originated by the Austrian doctor Sigmund Freud. Freud was the first person in psychology history to come up with unconscious and conscious mind, which became the basic theory of psychoanalysis. Second, behavioralism is a psychology that originated by refuting psychoanalysis, represented by Skinner. The critical base theory of behavioralism is stimulus to response. Third, humanism values that people are not made by reinforcement, but has free will, which is mainly developed by Maslow. Fourth, cognitivism is a psychology that studies the subjective aspect of behavior, which can explain how people individually think and behave. Next, I will talk about the definition of humanism. Humanism is a psychology that studies the people's ability of change. I chose humanism because humanism explains the main theory of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are 5 stages in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The first stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is physiological needs, is at the bottom part of the picture. Physiological needs is the basic needs for humans and a desire to acquire food, shelter, and warmth. The most important desire in physiological needs is food. The second stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is safety needs, is at the second part of the picture. Safety needs is a desire to be secure and out of danger of corporal or emotional risk. The most significant desire in safety needs are security of body and the family. The third stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is love and belongingness, is at the third part of the picture. Love and belonging needs are the desire for belonging and tenderness. The most important desire is friendship and family. The fourth stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is desire for respect, which is at the fourth blank of the picture. Desire for respect is a desire for internal and external desire for respect. The most significant desire is self-esteem. The fifth stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization needs, which is at the top part of the picture. Self-actualization needs is a desire to develop and grow over time. The most important desire for self-actualization needs is morality and creativity. Next, I will talk about the psychologist who has similar theories as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As it is shown in the picture, Alderfer's theory of ERG, McClelland's theory of motivation for achievement, and Hertzberg's satisfaction of needs are similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and despite some differences. Next, I will talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs applied into the novel. But first, I want to talk about the background of Jane Eyre. The author of Jane Eyre is Charlotte Brontë, who is a female writer born in 1816 from a pastor's family. Charlotte published many books with her sisters. The plot of Jane Eyre is about a girl who struggles to overcome her hardships, her brutal aunt, and her children. Despite her flaws, she lives as a woman in the Victorian age, an endocentric society. Next, I will talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs applied into Jane Eyre. Physiological needs, the first stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is protected at her uncle Mr. Reed's house. As it is shown in the picture, even when Jane was 10 years old, because of a boy named John Reed, the need of safety wasn't protected because John constantly tormented Jane. However, Jane couldn't escape from this situation because she didn't have a place where it could provide her food or shelter. Safety needs. The second stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is also protected when Jane moved to the Lawwood Charity School. In Lawwood, Jane met new friends and teachers while Jane felt safe because of the safekeeping of the teachers. In Lawwood, Jane built her wisdom and knowledge due to the education she received. Love and belonging, the third stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is also protected at the Lawwood Charity School. Jane meets Helen Burns and teacher Temple, who helped Jane by telling her how to be a person who can get along with other people and gave Jane the feeling of affection that she had never felt in her life. Desire for respect, the fourth stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is also ultimately satisfied. Jane finished her studies and got a job as a tutor at Thornfield Rochester House, where her desire for independence was satisfied. After Jane was proposed by Mr. Rochester, she rejected the proposal. It is because she wanted to live a life as an independent, who, unlike his ex-wife, Bertha, who was in chains. After she left Mr. Rochester, she was also proposed by St. John. However, she rejected the proposal. It is because she didn't want to live a life as a passive woman who changed her personality and suppressed her talents because of St. John. Self-actualization needs, the fifth stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is finally fulfilled. After Jane found out that Mr. Rochester became blind and his house was burned, Jane came to protect him. Jane, despite his flaws, fell in love again and completed the self-actualization needs. In conclusion, these days, many people are losing their self-esteem. However, while I was writing my paper, I realized that Jane, who had no right in a male-oriented society in the 19th century, she overcame her environment and achieved her desire one by one until the 5 stages of needs were satisfied. Jane, despite her environment, gave infinite joy to her opponent, Mr. Chester. Thank you for listening to my speech.
In addition, Kang Tae-won is 12th grade at SDC International School Academy. She will present the title, Animal Experimental Studies According to Behaviorism and Cognitivism.
Hello, my name is Taehyung Kang, and today I'm going to present on Animal Experimental Studies According to Behaviorisms and Cognitivisms. I started my research due to an increase in number of household pets and wanted to figure out which extent can we teach animals about various things. I will first look at house in educating animals based on behaviorisms among the 4 major theories of psychology. I will briefly explain the theoretical backgrounds that I used for my study. The first is behaviorisms. This field of psychology focuses on objective behavior of humans and animals and only deals with systems consisting relationship between stimuli and reactions. As you can see in this picture, there's 2 major conditioning in behaviorisms. The first is operant conditioning, which is the theory of Skinner. And this is a method of learning that employs rewards for behavior. Secondly, classical conditioning, which is the theory of Pavlov. When you learn through classical conditioning, an automatic conditioned response is paired with a specific stimulus and creates a behavior. Secondly, ethology. This is a field of zoology and objectively observes and describes animal behavior mainly in nature situation. So, what is the relationship between ethology and psychology? Ethology is closely related to developmental psychology. The first reason is that humans are animal and our behavior, like other animals, reflect the value of evolution and developed by our ancestor. Second, animal behaviorists are interested in unlearned behavior, commonly referred to as instinct. Fourth is cognitivism. This field of psychology focuses on how humans acquire knowledges and mechanisms by structuring and accumulating acquired knowledge. I would like to go deeper in behaviorisms and introduce 3 major scholars. To begin with, Pavlov found that dog saliva was secreted just by the sound of bell without any food being present, and we call this classical conditioning. On top of that, Skinner came with the idea called operant conditioning, and this is a method of learning that employs rewards for behavior. Lastly, Bandura, the founder of observational learning, which is the process of learning by watching others, retaining information, and then later replicate the behavior that were observed, like this monkey. One of the main theories that I want to mention today is Skinner's operant conditioning. As I mentioned it a few minutes ago, this theory suggests a way to increase or decrease the probability of reactions occurring by selectively compensating for it. And Skinner verified his theory with Skinner box experiments. As you can see in this picture, Skinner box designed to allow these hungry mice to fit when it presses this small lever. And mice can notice that pressing a lever produces food. Finally, Skinner confirmed that mice often repeat this behavior in order to feed itself. For the next step, we have to know what language psychology is. Psychologist Abraham Noam Chomsky argued that no matter how much animals talk, they cannot speak like humans and make sentences with their own thoughts. And this argument directly contradicts the Skinner's claim. The Neem-Chomsky experiment shows the fierce battle between these 2 fields. The Professor Herbert Harris, the disciple of Skinner, tried to show that language is not only human area and tried to teach this to chimpanzee. He chose chimpanzee because the gene pool is 98% matching with humans. And the name of chimpanzee was Neem-Chomsky, and this is a name to mock Noam Chomsky. And this experiment started from November 19, 1973 to March 10, 2000. For this experiment, Stephanie raised Chimsky just like a human baby until he reaches adolescence. When he became 2 months old, she and her family taught him to sign language, and he quickly acquired it. Chimsky said, "I'm sorry" in sign language when he felt he did something wrong. However, as he grew up, his wildness became too difficult to control. Eventually, this experiment had to continue at Columbia University. They also taught sign language to Chimsky, but his nature started to grow wider. This project was suspended after 4 years. Professor Hubbard Terrace tried to prove that animals also can learn language, but this experiment eventually failed it. However, this can be a really important basis for backing up the arguments of Noam Chomsky. At the same time, I found very interesting examples of training of behaviorisms and animal in areas. The first example is Kevin Weaver and his dog Belle. Belle immediately called 911 on its mobile phone when its owner suddenly collapsed thanks to Weaver's training, which is training Belle to press number 9 when with his teeth in case of an emergency. In addition, the SUN, the British Public Magazine, did a report on cats who can detect the chemical changes in owner's body. When change is detected, the cat hits owner's face with his feet until she wakes up. In conclusion, I have studied animal training based on behaviorisms, and I also believe that this research and training are also applied to humans. For example, there's multiple factors when it comes to rewarding and punishing students and children at school or family. Through this, I believed that I can teach unlimited things to children, unlimited things to animals based on behaviorisms. The experiment conducted with this idea was named Chimsky experiments. However, contrary to my thoughts, this result could be said that only humans think, speak, and perceive language. At the same time, I found very interesting things, which are the reactions of animals with people who have diseases. Although humans are the only beings who have ability to speak and recognize language, my conclusion is there is value in doing research in areas of animals that humans are not able to comprehend to the fullest extent. This is my end of the presentation, and thank you for listening.
Lastly, this is the order of Jing Ru. He is doctor's degree at Kyunghee University. The title of the thesis is 종고인 극한 학습 차이 한국어는 점차에 대한 지식과 실현 연구.
안녕하십니까. 경희대학교 박사과정을 받고 있는 진루라고 합니다. 중국에서 왔습니다. 저는 오늘 중국인 고급 학습자의 한국어 니은 첨가에 대한 지식과 실현을 주제로 발표를 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 우선 목차를 보시면 서론, 본론, 결론 세 부분으로 구성되어 있습니다. 우선 서론을 보시겠습니다. 제가 왜 이 연구를 시작하냐면 일단 중국어와 한국어를 비교해 보자면 중국어에서는 음의 현상이 드물어서 한국어에서 원래는 없었던 이음이 첨가되어 발음되는 현상이 중국인 학습자에게 매우 어렵다고 판단되었고요. 그리고 선의 연구들을 살펴본 결과 음문 규칙 중에 니음 첨가 현상이 가장 어려운 현상임을 확인하였고 제대로 습득되고 있지 않음을 보여주었습니다. 그리고 예비 조사도 실시하였는데 그 결과는 니음 첨가 현상이 대부분의 중국인 학습자들이 매우 어려워하고 혹은 잘 알지 못하는 한국어 의무 현상 중에 하나라는 것을 발견이 되어서 이 연구를 시작하였습니다. 네. 그리고 다음으로 한국어 니은 첨가 현상은 무엇인지에 대해서 간단히 살펴보시겠습니다. 표준 발음법 제29항에 따르면 합성어미 파생어에서 앞 단어나 접두사의 끝이 자음이고 뒤 단어나 전미사의 첫 음절이 이, 야, 요, 요, 유인 경우에는 니은 첨가를 해서 니, 냐, 요, 뇨, 뉴를 발음해야 합니다. 이제 여러분들 좀 더 쉽게 이해할 수 있도록 제가 이 규정을 바탕으로 니은 첨가를 다음과 같이 세 가지 유형으로 나눠봤습니다. 첫 번째 유형으로는 니은 첨가 외에 다른 의문 현상이 일어나지 않은 경우인데요. 이제 보시면 맨입이라는 단어가 있죠. 니은 첨가해서 맨입으로 발음해야 합니다. 그리고 두 번째 경우에는 니은 첨가 외에 비음화 현상을 일으키는 경우입니다. 보시면 막일. 우선 이제 니은 첨가해서 막닐 되고 이제 최종 발음은 비음화 일어나야 해서 막닐로 된 겁니다. 그리고 세 번째 유형으로는 니은 첨가 외에 유음화 현상을 일으키는 경우입니다. 이제 보시면 휘발유. 우선 니은 첨가해서 휘발유 된 다음에 마지막으로 이제 유음화 일어나서 휘발유로 된 것입니다. 이거 중국인 학습자들한테 되게 어려운 발음이라고 얘기할 수 있습니다. 그리고 이제 선해 연구들 살펴본 결과는 이제 니은 첨가와 관련된 선해 연구들이 이제 전체 의문 현상을 다루면서 니은 첨가 현상을 부분적으로 논한 연구들이 대부분이었습니다. 그 연구들이 무슨 한계점이냐면 실험 단어가 유형별로 나누어서 기술되지 않았고 또는 단어 수가 매우 부족해서 학습자의 니은 첨가 현상을 발음은 매우 한정적으로 분석하고 있다는 것이죠. 네. 그리고 이제 제가 그 한계점을 보완하기 위해서 이제 발음 산출 실험과 발음 필기 실험 두 가지 실험 실행하였습니다. 이제 발음 산출 실험은 발음 나는 대로 이제 읽으라는 실험이고, 그리고 발음 필기 실험은 이제 그 단어를 보고 어떻게 읽어야 되는지를 그거 적으라는 실험인데요. 그리고 비교 집단으로는 한국어 모어 화자도 30명으로 이제 실험 참여자의 실험에 참여시켰습니다. 여기 좀 보정이 달라서 좀 깨져서 좀 죄송합니다. 네, 그리고 실험 도구인데요. 이제 제가 고른 단어 중에 이제 니은 첨가 외에 유음화를 일으키는 경우를 제외시켰습니다. 왜 그러냐면 이제 니은 첨가 외에 유음화를 일으키는 경우는 최종 발음이 유음으로 나오기 때문에 그 사이에 니은 첨가하였는지 안 하였는지를 정확하게 판단할 수 없기 때문이죠. 네, 그리고 실험 절차인데요. 네, 이제 간단히 보시고 넘어가고요. 이제 결과 분석 부분입니다. 우선 발음 필기 실험 결과입니다. 이제 니은 첨가 외에 다른 의문 현상이 일어나지 않은 경우에서 이제 중국인 학습자의 31.9%의 첨가 비율을 보였고 한국어 모어 화자보다 매우 낮게 나타났습니다. 네. 그리고 그 결과는 통계적으로 매우 유의미하였습니다. 이제 중국인 학습자의 오류 양상을 보시면 주로 논일, 밤일, 누뇨기 이렇게 연음식으로 발음하는 오류가 있었고 또한 36 그냥 철자법 없이 그대로 발음하는 오류가 있었습니다. 네. 그리고 이제 니은 첨가 외에 비음화 현상을 일으키는 경우에서 또 마찬가지로 중국인 학습자가 매우 낮은 첨가 비율을 보였습니다. 네. 그리고 중국인 학습자의 발음 오류 양상은 아까보다 훨씬 더 다양해졌습니다. 우선 니은 첨가하였음에도 불구하고 이제 그 니은 첨가하지만 앞 음절 받침 탈락하는 오류가 있었습니다. 이제 보시면 낫닉다라고 발음해야 되지만 앞 받침 탈락해서 나닉다 이런 식으로 발음했습니다. 그리고 니은 첨가를 적용하지 않은 경우에서 나타나는 오류 양상은 주로 연음 발음하고 규칙의 불완전한 적용 그리고 처자법식 발음이었습니다. 네, 그리고 발음 산출 실험 결과입니다. 우선 니은 첨가 외에 다른 의문 현상이 일어나지 않은 경우에서 중국인 학습자도 여전히 33.6%로 매우 낮은 첨가 비율로 나타났습니다. 하지만 여기 재미있는 것은 이제 맨입, 한일, 한여름 이 세 가지 단어는 이제 중국인 피험자가 이제 50% 이상으로 좀 비교적 높은 첨가 비율을 보였는데 그 이유는 이제 모국어의 영향으로 추측해 볼 수 있겠습니다. 왜냐하면 중국어에서는 난아 이런 발음이 있는데 그런 발음할 때는 중국인 학습자들이 이제 이게 항상 자연스럽게 느 발음 첨가해서 최종적으로 니은 연쇄 발음으로 나타난 거예요. 난나 이런 식으로 발음 많이 하기 때문에 그래서 이 세 가지 단어도 이 발음 구조가 이거랑 너무 비슷해가지고 그래서 중국인 학자들이 니은 첨가 규칙을 잘 몰라도 이제 자연스럽게 이런 니은 연쇄 발음 나타나는 것이죠. 네, 그리고 중국인 학습자의 발음 오류 양상은 철자법 없이 발음하고 여는 발음이었습니다. 네. 그리고 니은 첨가 외 비음화 현상을 일으키는 경우에서 마찬가지로 매우 낮은 첨가 비율을 보였습니다. 그리고 그 중에서 꽃잎이라는 단어가 있는데 그 단어는 유독 첨가 비율이 되게 높게 나타나는데요. 제가 이거에 대해서 추후 인터뷰를 해봤는데 중국인 학습자가 이 단어에 대해서 이제 수업 시간에 한국어 수업 시간에 교사가 이거에 대해서 좀 언급하였다고 하였습니다. 따라서 이러한 니은 첨가 단어는 이제 나중에 체계적인 교육이 이루어진다면 반드시 효과가 있을 거라고 생각할 수 있겠습니다. 그리고 중국인 학습자의 발음 오류 양상은 앞 음절 받침 탈락, 여는 발음, 철자법 없이 발음, 앞 음절 받침 탈락, 그리고 규칙의 불완전한 적용이었습니다. 전반적으로 중국인 학습자의 니은 첨가 비율은 한국어 모어화자보다 매우 낮은 것으로 나타났고요. 그리고 이것을 이제 실험별, 유형별로 이제 그래프를 보시면 알 수 있듯이 이제 발음 산출 실험하고 발음 필기 실험 이제 거의 비슷한 수준으로 나타났고, 그리고 두 가지 니은 첨가 유형에서는 9.4%의 차이를 보였습니다. 이제 논의 부분입니다. 이제 잠깐 보시고 넘어가겠습니다. 결론을 말씀드리겠습니다. 본 연구의 결과는 그 연구 대상자가 중국인 고급 학습자이라는 점에서 되게 시사하는 바가 크다고 볼 수 있습니다. 왜냐하면 이렇게 오래 배우고 한국어를 배우고 사용하고 있는 고급 학습자임에도 불구하고 그 니은 첨가 비율은 한국어 모어화자의 절반에도 미치지 못하는 것은 향후 한국어 교육에 있어서 니은 첨가 현상에 대한 보다 명시적이고 체계적인 교육이 필요함을 방증하는 결과로 볼 수 있습니다. 그리고 중국인 학습자의 니은 첨가 발음에 관한 개별 연구가 미미한 현 시점에서 중국인 고급 학습자의 니은 첨가 정도를 두 가지 실험을 통해 조사하고 또한 니은 첨가 현상을 두 유형에 따라 살펴보았다는 점, 또 한국어 교육 현장에 니은 첨가에 대한 지식과 통찰을 제공해 주었다는 점, 또 학습자로 하여금 니은 첨가에 대한 이해 증진과 발음 오류에 대한 학습자 스스로의 민감성 제고에 도움이 되었다는 점에서 본 연구에 의의가 있을 거라고 생각합니다. 하지만 본 연구의 한계점은 유음화를 일으키는 유형이 실험에 포함되지 않았다는 점, 그리고 니은 첨가 현상에 대한 통찰적인 분석이 좀 부족하였다는 점은 한계점이었고요. 따라서 추후 이런 한계점 보완해서 좀 더 깊이 있는 연구를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 이상으로 제 발표를 마치도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Part 4 is the evolution time. Supervisor Lee Kyung-man will proceed with this order.
예, 감사합니다. 아까 시작할 때는 우리 내빈들과 여기 참석하신 분들에게 감사를 표했습니다만 이제 끝날 때 되니까 우리 학생들에게 감사를 해야 될 것 같습니다. 저는 우리 학생들이 발표하는 걸 보면서 너무 고맙다. 그리고 아무도 어떻게 보면은 생각해 보지 못했던 걸 이렇게 하잖아요. 그러니까 우리 아이들은 가능성이 있어요. 근데 그 가능성을 불어넣어 주느냐 그렇지 않느냐, 여기에 이제 달린 것 같아요. 누가 이러한 발표를 하리라고 생각했겠어요. 네. 그리고 발표한 이 내용만 보시면 안 됩니다. 우리 이제 심사위원이 여기 계시고 또 외국 심사위원도 계시지만 지금 심사할 수가 없어요. 왜냐하면 이 학생들이 발표한 내용들을 이제 검토하셔야 돼요. 훨씬 이 발표한 내용보다 멋있는 또 의미 있는 내용들이 논문으로 기록되어 있습니다. 그래서 정말 자랑스럽고, 우리 아이들이 영어 발음이 뭐 한두 개 틀리면 어떻습니까? 그러나 이렇게 깊은 의미를 연구해보고 탐구해보는, 그런데 이거로 모든 시간을 보내면 안 되고 이거는 모든 시간 중에 극히 일부로 하는 겁니다. 그래서 제가 우리 친구들 만나서 이렇게 제가 코치하는데 10번 이상을 만나지 않았어요. 네. 그러니까 일주일에 한 번 정도씩 만나서 한 겁니다.
여러분은 어떻게 이 학생들 발표를 보고 느끼셨나요? 또 참가한 여러분들은 또 소감이 또 어떠신가요? 저 개인적으로는 참 놀랍다, 대단하다. 그리고 또 한편으로는 무한한 가능성을 볼 수 있었습니다. 참가한 여러분 각자 개인은 아마 마음속에 이럴 거예요. 조금만 더 준비했으면 내가 왜 그런 뼈아픈 실수를 했을까? 다시 또 그런 기회가 온다면 더 잘할 수 있을 텐데 이런 후회나 아쉬움이 많이 남을 거예요. 근데 그 아쉬움이나 후회가 여러분이 더 한 걸음 더 도약하고 발전할 수 있는 좋은 기회가 되니까 또 실수를 안 한 학생들은 성취감을 아마 맛봤을 거예요. 아마 이 다음에는 더 큰 무대에서 더 수준 높은 내용으로 자신감 있게 아마 발전해 가리라는 걸 저는 확인할 수 있었습니다. 그리고 각자가 참가하면서 준비하는 과정에 부족했던 점, 또 여러 가지 말 못할 고민이나 어려움이 있었을 거예요. 그럴 때마다 다 헤쳐나가서 여기 발표장까지 오게 된 것은 여러분의 개인의 능력, 개인이 갖고 있는 잠재력의 어떤 발산이요, 자기 재능을 확인한 좋은 아마 밑거름이 됐을 겁니다. 그리고 대회에 갖는 의미는 저는 항상 그렇게 생각합니다. 남이 하는 것을 보고 배우는 게 굉장히 큽니다. 저렇게도 하는구나. 정말 저렇게 잘하는구나. 아니면 저건 나는 저거보다 더 잘할 수 있는데, 이런 게 대회 참가가 주는 큰 교훈이라고 보니까 각자 나름대로 기준을 정해서 보고 배우고 느끼고 또 다른 기회를 만들어서 한층 도약할 수 있는 그런 기회가 됐으면 좋겠습니다. 그래서 자신감을 얻고 그다음에 잠재 능력을 좀 찾고 더 발휘해서 저는 그 두 가지로 대회가 갖는 의미는 참가자로서 경험과 성장, 이 두 가지로 요약할 수 있다고 봅니다. 저마다 아마 느낀 바가 다르겠지만 이 두 가지를 꼭 가슴속에 품고 다음에는 더 큰 무대에서 더 성장한 모습으로 더 높은 수준의 내용으로 발표장이 됐으면 좋겠다, 이런 생각을 해봤습니다. 그리고 우리가 이제 살고 있는 이 시대는 이제 4차 산업혁명 시대라고 하죠. 아마 많은 능력이 요구될 텐데 저는 많은 능력 중에서 두 가지입니다. 첫째는 소통 능력, 두 번째는 문화 이해에 대한 능력입니다. 여러분 많은 학생들이 아마 중국에서 공부하러 온 학생들일 텐데 자기가 나고 태어난 곳을 떠나서 한국이라는 나라에 온 것 자체가 문화 이해에 대한 능력이 남다른 그런 사람이라는 걸 이미 증명이 된 겁니다. 이해해서 끝나지 않고 이제 수용하고 좀 더 공존하는, 이 지구촌 하나의 구성원으로서 공존하는 그런 마인드로 생각을 넓혀나가야 개인의 발전은 물론이고 우리 다 잘 사는, 그리고 이 열방의 의미를 갖는 우리 교회 목회자님들의 뜻이기도 할 겁니다. 그리고 이 큰 대회를 마련해 주신 이회라고 그랬는데 대회 이회가 제법 이제 국제적인 모습을 갖춰가고 있는 듯합니다. 준비해 주신 그 협회 관계자분들 아마 알긴 모르긴 몰라도 큰 아마 노고와 준비 과정에 어려움이 많았을 텐데 기회를 만들어 주셔서 감사를 드리고요. 애 많이 쓰셨습니다. 학생들 여기 학부모님도 계실 텐데 많이 격려해 주시고 또 더 성장할 수 있는 그런 격려의 말씀 잊지 마시길 바랍니다. 감사합니다.